Welcome back to the Digital Legacy Podcast. My name is Daniel Sanchez, CEO and founder of Reekolect.
And I'm JC Silva, Director of Business Development and PR. And Daniel, who's this fine gentleman next to me?
Who's this guy right here?
Yeah, he's a little bit intimidating.
You think so?
I know so.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? My name is Amardath. I go by More for short. Director of Finance.
Director of Finance,
I knew
absolutely.
he was important.
There you go. That's the money guy. He's really important.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, again, we have a very exciting episode for you guys today. I'm here with myself and these two amazing leaders from Reekolect, and we're going to be discussing finance, technology, and as well as business development, and how Reekolect is not only functioning and working today, but how we're planning for tomorrow. So it's going to be a very exciting conversation, very insightful. Yes, so let's go ahead and begin with our first topic. So first topic that I'd like to discuss with you gentlemen is the intersection of technology and legacy. So let's discuss a little bit of how, Reekolect's technology, its AI technology, is revolutionizing the way we build, store, and preserve our memories. So let me quickly start a little bit about our application and what it's doing. So with Reekolect's app, what it started off was that the simple goal was to revolutionize the way we connect and remember. That was essentially what we wanted to do. That's how the concept began. So what our app does is that it's a social preservation network. It's essentially one of the first of its kind, where not only do we want to be able to have a platform where you can share, connect, and preserve your memories with family members, friends, but essentially also think about the future. So it's not only about the past, it's also about the future. And the way AI technology comes in and integrates into this is essentially the best example I can give of what really is our flagship feature here is our CBT technology, or conversations beyond time. What this is that we're using AI to be able to give you where you can upload video, audio, pictures, and essentially be able to recreate a digital avatar of a deceased loved one. So what that means is that we're leveraging AI to be able to recreate this individual and have an interactive conversation with that individual.
Yeah,
and we feel that this will revolutionize the way.
I think that's important because a lot of the things we discuss all the time about other applications, other uses of social media, like we talked about last time, is the users are looking for a lot of storage. I mean, Think about it. We just upload everything. We want to be able to tap everything back when we want to revisit those memories. And I think what we're trying to do is we're going a step beyond. We're combining everything to an emotional state, which isn't there. And we're trying to find a way to make it more of an emotional bond with those tools that we currently have across different platforms. Our app is looking to go a step beyond. It's making that human connection, which nobody's been able to successfully do. And that's where our CBT technology, I think, sets us apart.
I agree 100%. And with that, what I quickly want to reference is regarding other social media platforms and so on. I think we've really kind of lost ourselves on just being about the content in a sense of just getting likes, just getting those comments, just essentially trying to get attention versus really focusing on the quality of content and what we're preserving, and not only thinking about the past, but also thinking about the future.
But I think to your point, it's not just about today. I think the reason we get all those likes and we want those views is because it's immediate gratification.
Right.
Oh, they like us. They're following us. They're doing all this. What we're trying to do is very different, and I think it's setting a different mindset for individuals. Back in the day, people would write in a journal. Store recipes like we talked about last time, and I think that's our next progression.
Right.
Is we have to take responsibility for what we want to leave behind. And this gives us that opportunity.
Of course.
So it's ideal.
It is.
And what I will say is that we have several social media networks that are out there. Think of your Facebook, your Twitters, and all the alike, right? What we're doing here is it's very different. We want to preserve our social preservation network. So
exactly.
to be essentially the first of our kind in the industry.
Right. And that's absolutely true.
Yeah, and I think, Amar, you're right. And that preservation that we're doing is not what we want others to see us like, which is what happens a lot of time on social media. We take a sort of life of our own that we want our people to think how we are. I think this is a chance for us to really look at ourselves in the mirror and leave behind to those that really love us and know us
a legacy,
who we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which also, again, leads me to this next concept that I want to introduce a lot, not only today, but for future podcasts, really this concept of digital immortality. You know, as we look back in history, people have always looked for ways to extend their life. You know, the famous and mythical fountain of youth that was being looked for in Ponce de Leon. Why do we have this obsession of wanting to preserve our identity and our legacy forever? Right now, is there a platform where we can do this? And right, I understand at this moment we have emails, we have social media posts, but can we organize this in a way that can really become a digital way of being, in other words, a way of experiencing immortality, but from a digital perspective? And I think that that's exactly what Reekolect wants to be able to cater to and tailor for individual users. What do you guys think about that concept of digital immortality? Living forever, digitally.
I think, it's interesting you say that. I have a granddaughter now, and since she was born, I created an email address for her. And on occasion, I'll write an email. She doesn't, my daughter knows the password or whatever, but it's so that when I'm not around, she'll be able to read what I was feeling, what I was experiencing with my interactions with her. Mm-hmm. And I think that is what we are trying to do on a much grander scale. Mm-hmm. But that was the only thing that came to mind for me to use based on what was there. I wanted to capture in that moment how I was feeling, celebrating her birthday or doing this. And I said, let me set up this account for her. Let me just send an email, not to be read until I'm no longer here, for whatever that may be. But this is just that next iteration that allows me now to speak to her and talk to her. And just, we just got to get into the routine of being able to do that as common it is to write an email.
Agreed.
And I think that's what we're looking to do right now.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And what to your point there, what I always like to put myself is at the state of the end user. And I'm someone that always thinks about where my family derives from. I wish that I can just pull up to my grandfather and talk to him about what his life experience were and what led him to come to America. How was it when you had to see, watch all of the children and raise them when your wife took that voyage to America to make that difference, that first step for the rest of the family. And just having ways that we can put this all together is what Reekolect is about. This is what we're trying to push out to essentially all users.
Exactly. And that's a powerful point that you made right now. You can't get all of that from a photo. Let's be clear. And that's where Reekolect is going to stand out, integrating with AI technology, is being able to provide a much more interactive experience so that your children, grandchildren can, again, have that experience of who you were as an individual. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, I also want to transition a little bit now going into, how Reekolect is going to be evolving and not only catering to our users, but as well as into business. And essentially what we want to be able to accomplish as Reekolect evolves is that nowadays we look at a business, and what comes to mind when you look at a business? It's either a logo, it's either the business name, it might be a particular individual. Well, we're going to also revolutionize the business world by introducing AI in a sense that AI will represent and have an interaction experience that will provide to the clients, the customers of a business, which I think is a perfect transition now that we can give over to JC to discuss a little bit about business development and other features that are being created.
Yeah, I think right now what we're trying to do at Reekolect is more of a bridging the gap between business, AI, customer service. Mm-hmm. Right now, our biggest partnership right now is with FIU. So we have a very interesting partnership with FIU that we're working to develop with them, an application where there is basically a virtual student advisor.
Right.
And the idea of that is bringing AI. The student starts at a university or is looking to go to a university. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of, how do I pay for it?
Right.
What are my classes going to look like?
It's
What's my
intimidating.
degree going to look? It's beyond intimidating. And even the university has an issue where there's so much coming at them. The bandwidth is so huge, and there's only so much they can handle at one time. A lot of times you fend for yourself. Go on the website, do this. And what we're trying to do is create a virtual assistant, but not one that's your typical, ask a question, get an answer, that understands a little bit more what the student is looking for, what the family's looking for, and be sympathetic to that and guide you in the right direction, make it simple to use. And I think we've been fortunate that FIU has wanted to come on board on this journey with us, and we're excited about where that potential can take. And that's one of many partnerships, but it is our first, and I think it's going to really pave the way for a lot of different business relationships.
Yeah.
I agree. And again, just putting myself to, I guess, the state of the person that's going to be utilizing the app, right? So I remember myself taking it back to when I was in college, or even leading up into it, not knowing what to do, where to go, who to ask for what, and the I guess the resources that they had in place, they did have them, but they weren't the most efficient, I guess, to get to. And what our goal is just to streamline that process. So when you get to school and you're confused, you have someone that's right there with you that has all the answers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're all about the connection. So another aspect of that we also want to do is that not only allow the student or, the individual there that's going in and experiencing all of that, all the commotion going on with getting in line, visiting a counselor, where's my class, what's my schedule, what should I do, we can also integrate where parents will be able to log in, potentially into the app and be able to also be part of that experience as well. So it's incredible what we have in works with FIU, and very excited about that partnership, and a very powerful one.
Yeah.
So it's going to be absolutely phenomenal.
And the whole business side also, then to continue on that, it's more of a understanding that we want to allow businesses that we know they have a lot of customer service needs. That's the first. Anything the customer does at the beginning is ask questions.
Right.
How do I do this? How do I get there? And I think what we're allowing them to do with our technology is do it in a very seamless way. We create further bandwidth without disrupting employment or anything like that. I mean, we want to be very understanding of, we're not looking to take anybody's job here. We're looking to facilitate them so that once we gather that information in a very user-friendly way, like having a conversation with an advisor, having a conversation with a lawyer, now that information is given to the proper person who can now really be efficient and handling the concerns that individual has.
Exactly. And efficiency. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think now let's go ahead and transition a little bit into our second topic, discussing about financial sustainability and technology.
What is this going to cost us, Amar?
Yeah, this is going to cost.
That's the question.
It's on the house, but only
it's on the house. I knew I liked this company. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Amar, if you can elaborate on a couple points, as and quickly, what I do want to mention is that, when you look at a new modern day AI company and into software, one big thing is storage, right? And then the technology and how these powerful machines, powerful pieces of software, again, how much they really take, and also how can you sustain financially and continue this running and have a profitable business. So that's why, Amar, you're so instrumental into the organization and being able to give us projections, showing us a forecast of what might be happening and how to best prepare for it. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to you and let us know.
Yes. So Danny, you bring up a lot of great points here. And what I'll say is that at Reekolect, we're not just thinking about short-term gains.
Right.
We're focused on building a platform that'll withstand the test of time. From a financial perspective, that means investing smartly in AI and data infrastructure. Right. So what I will say, just to open up, is Reekolect, we are innovating in cutting-edge technology. So we're making significant investments in our conversations beyond time, our flagship feature, to your point here.
Absolutely.
And this AI-driven synthetic media capability is at the core of our mission to preserve family legacies. And while it's a substantial investment up front, Danny, we see it crucial for our long-term stability. And by developing this technology now, we're positioning ourselves at the forefront of digital legacy preservation market.
We are. We absolutely are. And then that's definitely it. Give us a little bit more, discuss a little bit more about some other topics and what you've seen as you look at, specifically on financial sustainability. What are some points that, perhaps, let's say if we have someone in our audience that's considering and starting up their own AI startup, I mean, what are some of the difficulties
regarding personal legacy? That's hard.
That's taken.
That's
so,
hard.
Unless you want to hear from our lawyers, take it easy.
Just public service announcement there.
Exactly. Thank you for clarifying that. But Amar, what other things can we forecast, or someone can expect, or if you can discuss any of the difficulty on what it takes to be able to come up with that forecast and look at these projections. Tell us a little bit about your day to day.
Well, I'm gonna take it a step further, if you don't mind, because we've had a few conversations with, for example, the FIU model.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we're going to do with the Florida International University model is a student advisor, and hopefully it can be replicated. So as a person who's guiding our company onto how we can be now profitable without being an impact to the consumer, how does that look like? How do you work those projections? How can we sell that to other universities? How can, how do we work that? What type of model do we use with that?
Ultimately, we have to deliver value. And that's what it comes down to.
Very true.
If you can deliver the value, the price points are just going to make sense.
Okay.
So when we first roll out, what we've seen across the industry is just more of a freemium model where everyone has the opportunity to go in there and see what the app is about.
Right.
Test it out. See, what this company, are they standing behind what they say their principles are? Because what we're doing, and we're pioneers in the way that we envision social media networks moving forward.
So basically, if the model works at a university, let's say, and we go to another university, I'm assuming it's going to be somewhat very competitive, something that allows them to not break the bank.
Exactly. So essentially, again, we're going back to that freemium model where they'll get to test it out and try it out, but the price points are going to be something that everyone can afford. So we're testing out subscription models as low as $8 that'll give you all the features that you need to recreate the person and preserve that legacy.
Right. And that's no easy task to provide such innovative technology at affordable price points. And that's why it requires so much detailed projections as well as research, looking at also what our competitors are offering, what type of technology is already out there, and how we can overall provide more value in that. That's something that's also cost efficient. As well. So it's not an easy task, to say the least.
When you do some of those projections, what does that look like? What do you take into account when you're giving us when you give us those numbers that says this is where we could potentially be a year from now, just without going into specifics, because I know it's a very complicated system, but what are some of the numbers we look at, or some of the aspects of creating that spreadsheet?
And don't give all the secrets, Amar. Don't give all the secrets out here.
I can't give much. But what I will say is just something that's going to be affordable to the mass. It's going to allow them, that low entry point, to get into trying something that'll preserve their legacy forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And just to, Danny, just to go in, because I know we mentioned a couple topics, but for as far as data storage and security goes, we recognize that data security is paramount when dealing with people's most cherished memories and also with their personal information. And that's why we're in the process of developing a robust data storage and security infrastructure that will not only meet but exceed industry standards. So we're looking to implement end-to-end encryption, multi-factor authentication, and regular security audits to ensure the utmost protection of users' data. And just to also know, because this is a big topic here because of all the recent data breaches that we've been experiencing, right? So recent high-profile data breaches serve as a stark reminder of the importance of cybersecurity.
Absolutely.
So, for instance, you have the 2021 Facebook data breach that affected over 500 million
That was
users.
big. That was really big.
Huge. You had the 2020 Twitter Bitcoin.
I was never the same after that one.
Never.
All my information got out there. That's when
They got
those of you may know me prior to 2021.
What type of coffee you drink, what you eat for lunch.
It was rough. But, and to your point, I think our partnership, when you mentioned about different partnerships, our partnership with FIU is one that we're also using to further enhance that.
Yes.
In education, there's so much information about a student, about their grades, about everything.
It has to be handled with care.
It has to be handled with a lot of care. So we're tapping that with FIU as well to make sure that what we're looking at, the type of technology we're using, mimics what goes on at a financial institution, at a educational institution,
right?
Because they take that so near and dear to their heart.
Of course.
So that's good synergy there as well.
Absolutely. And one commitment that we can definitely give to our audience about what Reekolect is going to do, we're going to constantly be looking for new relationships, forming it with other organizations that take pride in security and privacy. It's so important. We're asking people to trust us with their memories, with their lives, with their ancestry, with their futures. So again, Reekolect not only is going to take up the responsibility of ensuring that we do this in an ethical manner, but also ensuring that we're never just satisfied with what we have. Constantly looking at other partnerships. How can we establish strategic partnerships that will assure that we can provide a safe and private platform for people to be able to engage in. So again, we are advocates in privacy, advocates for ensuring that you can trust us in being able to handle your memories and preserve that for generations to come. Absolutely. So I think that that's very important that I think our audience completely understands that we will constantly, that's our commitment, constantly looking to evolve and seeing what's the latest and greatest in technology and ensure that it fits our business model and protecting first our users above all, whether it be consumer, your users, or businesses as well, which is extremely important. And to your point about college education and all that information, that's very private stuff as well within the education community. So again, just as much as with users, we'll have to do the same with organizations like FIU, and that's why I believe that they trust in us, they understand our vision and what we want to be able to accomplish there. Absolutely. All right. So, gentlemen, we'll go ahead and proceed over to our last topic here, specifically on building trust and business development in a skeptical world, right? And I think we've already touched on that a little bit about, how these different major organizations have fallen off and been victims of cybersecurity. Right? So I believe, again, just kind of recapping and summarizing what we've said here, we understand and we want our audience to understand that we are looking into innovation. We are leveraging very advanced technology to provide a very emotional experience when it comes to memories. And as well as we work with our business partnerships, we want to be able to deliver in the same way that same emotional connection and customer service, to your point, when it comes from the business perspective, but also that sense of security that they can trust in our technology, trust in our organization, and again, just be a face of ethical and private and security measures when it comes to that.
And I think for my recap of everything we've talked about, I think it's also making sure the end user, the consumer, believes in that trust that we're trying to establish. At the end of the day, AI is still it's very much unknown.
Right.
I think we're going to have fun in our next podcast.
It is.
Because we're going to have somebody here who I know is very skeptical of AI. But the reality is it's in everyday life already.
It is.
So we just have to be able to communicate that to the user that, hey, this is here, accept it for what it is, but you're going to be okay using it.
Exactly.
And trust it to be able to leave that legacy and those conversations that we want to preserve. So I think that's very important.
Very true. Very true. Amar, any closing statements, anything else that you want to mention just overall?
I have a question for Amar.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Show me the money.
Maybe we can have that one offline.
Listen, and I know one of the things you always mention to us is, yes, as a company, a viable company, making money, that's the end goal of any company. But I know that we've always guided ourselves that we're beyond that. We just want to make sure that we leave a legacy. That's the goal of this company and our mission. So I know you keep us focused on the finance, but we thank you for also keeping that vision alive, that it goes beyond the numbers, and it's something that's part of who we are.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that.
Absolutely. I mean, again, as a business, we are for profit in the sense of taking our revenue to be able to further our technologies, build our business partnerships. However, to JC's point, overall, we also want to leave a legacy of our own when it comes to Reekolect as an organization, and it's to earn your trust and be associated with not only innovation, security, privacy, ethical concerns, but as well as walking what we preach, right? And essentially being able to preserve our own legacy, build that up, and help overall the world and what we're doing. All right. So we'll go ahead and finalize. Please stay tuned. The next episode, you guys are going to love it. We're going to have a Miami comedian.
You're going to be rolling on the floor.
Definitely a very funny comedian, Luis. Again, he's going to be, providing. He's very skeptical about AI, but it's going to be a very insightful, very fun, very entertaining episode. And I hope you guys stay in tune. Till next time, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you again, gentlemen, for joining us in this episode as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.